Hi guys, this is the last day of our trip, day 32 for us. We leave our hotel in Brunnhóll. Hotel was nice, but the restaurant not very fancy. We are heading west and Vatnajökull glacier greets us. It's not only in mainland Europe and Italy that there are straight roads, we also have some in Iceland. On the right we see a glimpse of Vatnajökull glacier. This is farmland in southeast Iceland. There are many glacial rivers running from Vatnajökull. They have different brown colors, some as dark chocolate. Many of them have single lane bridges, but they are getting fewer every year. Some nice views opening up now. There are layers of mountains and valleys ahead, mostly created by ice falls from Vatnajökull. When the ice melts, the valleys are still there. In the summer, you can always expect sheep on the roads. They are unpredictable, but if you see them on both sides of the road, expect them to run over the road in front of your bike or car. Beautiful cliffs up there, and there on the left, the North Atlantic. Next land, Antarctica. It's pretty desert landscape many places, but they have been trying to grow some vegetation with good results. But the glacier and weather can be very harsh on vegetation. Next stop, Jökulsárlón. Jökulsárlón is so crowded with tourists, and the parking is rough gravel, bad for our bikes, so we just stopped briefly, probably in a no parking zone, to take a couple of pictures and then move on. The river running from Jökulsárlón is interesting, spectacular color, and there are often icebergs floating down there, and seals are a common sight. There we can see some ice falls from the glacier, and there are glacier lagoons at the end of some of them. Ingólfshöfði is in the distance. It is kind of an island in the sand desert. There is some vegetation there and bird life, for example puffins. Ingólfshöfði is privately owned, and there are tours out there with guides. Ingólfshöfði is sometimes a waypoint for airplanes coming from Europe to Keflavík Airport. It's time for a coffee break at Freysnes. After coffee, we move on, head out to the sands, Skeiðarársandur. There is a small airport close to Skaftafell, and we saw this guy parachuting up there. The ruins on the left are from the bridge over Skeiðará that was heavily damaged in 1996 after an eruption in Grímsvötn in Vatnajökull melted some ice from the glacier and created a big flood. The bridge was opened in 1972 and was the last part of opening the ring road around Iceland. The bridge was rebuilt, but later a new smaller bridge was built. No need for the big one, as the riverbed changed and most of the water now runs another riverbed further west. Sorry for the bug on the lens. Here we are experiencing some of the black sands on the southeast coast. In fierce weathers in winter, cars can be completely ruined when the sand and even rocks are being blown around. South Iceland is the home of the sea trout. Here we are crossing Fossárlón, one of the sea trout rivers in the area. This is a well-known waterfall in Iceland, Foss á Síðu. We are stopping for another coffee break, now in Kirkjubæjarklaustur. After a good rest and some coffee, we leave Kirkjubæjarklaustur. First we have to cross the glacier river Skaftá, one of the big ones. Not so far from Kirkjubæjarklaustur, it is possible to take a right turn to Lakagígar. It's a highland road, gravel, lava and sand, and a river crossing. Exciting for adventure bikers and a beautiful area. A bit further is one of the greatest lava fields in Iceland in my opinion, and it is almost completely covered with moss. It is also popular to stop there to take pictures. Here it is possible to turn right to go to the Fjallabak area. It has many fantastic routes on gravel, highland roads with plenty of water crossing. Landmannalaugar is in this area and many other fantastic places for adventure bikers and 4x4s. Behind me there is Hjörleifshöfði, a big cliff or island surrounded by sand. It is possible to ride there if you can manage riding in soft sands. This means that we are getting closer to Vík. Some places it's possible to see these wonderful contrasts, bright green moss and black sands. On the right is yet another gravel road, fun to adventure ride. This one is into the Thak-Gil Canyon, very nice route and no water crossing. When taking petrol in Vík, 2 of our friends came there from Reykjavík to escort us home. It was nice seeing those good friends. We decided to have lunch in Vík before going home. Vík is a great day trip from Reykjavík, so it's not so far to our final destination, Reykjavík. We had a good pizza at Black Crust Pizzeria before leaving Vík. We were now 4 bikers traveling again, but the other 4. It's always beautiful to leave Vík and ride Reynisfjall. And it is nice to ride Mýrdalur. We have an errand at Hotel Dyrhóla and look at the views on the way up there. We stop briefly at Hotel Dyrhóla, have a cup of coffee and a chat. Then we leave, and the area we are riding through is the most touristic area in Iceland, with many interesting sights, but most of them a bit too touristic for me. I will mention some of them though as we ride past. This stand-alone mountain is Pétursey, and the glacier on the right is Mýrdalsjökull. There on the left is parking for either hiking or paying for a ride to the famous plane wreck on Sólheimasandur. Again a bit touristic. It was more fun when you could drive there and have no one else around, like in this picture from 2014. Here is Skógarfoss waterfall, a very popular tourist attraction. They have been trying to build up salmon stock in the river. I fished it a few years ago and did catch a salmon. Undir Eyjafjöllum area, so green and beautiful. The houses under the cliff there is an old movie set, were never removed and tourists find it interesting. Up there in the clouds there is Eyjafjallajökull. Remember the one that stopped almost all flight traffic in Europe in 2010? It looked like this during the eruption, and everything was grey and dirty in this otherwise green countryside. It turned out the ash was a good fertilizer for vegetation in the area. There on the right is Seljalandsfoss waterfall, over popular by tourists, maybe because it's possible to walk behind it. Seljalandsfoss looked like this during the eruption in 2010, all grey and dull. There are a couple of small villages on the way. First, we drive through Hvolsvöllur. Close to Hvolsvöllur is East Rangá. I have fished there a couple of times, and there I caught my biggest salmon so far. There are some horse breeding farms in the area, and it is not unpopular to have horses being herded along the main road. The second small village is Hella. And through Hella runs West Rangá. I have fished there many times and caught a few salmon. A bit further is the town Selfoss, and we ride the old and only bridge to get across the Ölfusá river. We decided to take a break at this petrol station there. One last ice cream of the tour. We leave the petrol station and we leave Selfoss. We have one last mountain road, Hellisheiði. There are some bends there, fun to ride. Our friend thought we were a bit slow, so he sped ahead, enjoying the ride. On the way down, on the Reykjavík side, there is this geothermal area just next to the road. And then we come to Reykjavík. And we reached the place where we started at the beginning of episode 1. And after spending 32 days together in this trip, we still remain friends. Guys, thank you for watching.